other issues, I'm curious to know, what your priorities are in Washington right now.
Well, top priority is controlling spending and cutting taxes to protect the economy. The highest priority of the federal government has got to be right now to preserve and protect the economy and to make sure that we don't move into a period of very serious economic decline. And the way you do that is by radically controlling spending and controlling debt, get the budget balanced, and cut taxes and get the government out of the way. I mean, just imagine how much more profitable the Chronicle would be if your taxes were cut dramatically, or you as an individual, if you abolished the income tax and went to a national consumption tax, if you could keep 100% of your income as an individual, if the Chronicle could keep 100% of your income as a corporation, and there was no income tax. You would only pay when you bought a roll of paper, or you bought ink or whatever, or you bought at the point of retail sale. So in my mind, the principal role today of the federal government is to, again, preserve and protect the economy, protect job growth, and the way you do that is with immediate and dramatic tax cuts, particularly for small businesses to allow them to invest and save money and create jobs. And we're going in the exact opposite direction. We're doing it seems to me, the liberal leadership of Congress is doing all the wrong things. They're spending money our kids don't have. In 90 days, this Pelosi's Congress, and she's really driving the train. I mean, Obama's an active participant, but it's really Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid are the ones with their hands on the steering wheel. They've spent more money in less time than any Congress in history. They've managed to spend in 90 days about $1.6 trillion. I've been burning out my no light. The first 90 days, this is more than the entire annual discretionary budget of the United States. The spendulous was more than the entire annual discretionary budget of the United States. And by the way, I voted no against over $2.3 trillion worth of spending under George Bush. So again, a Jeffersonian Republican. I voted against No Child Left Behind. I voted against the Medicare prescription drug bill. I voted against the AIDS in Africa bill, which creates an entitlement program for the first time for the third world. That's never been done before. By the way, the drug companies get paid to send the medication to these poor, desperately sick people in Africa. And if you just follow Malcolm Morris's advice, and I'll give a shout out to Malcolm because he's right, living water, if you just provide these people in these desperately poor countries clean drinking water, you'd actually do more to cure AIDS than anything else. Malcolm's right about that. And that's been one of my projects on appropriations, is to shift American foreign aid from handing a kid a transistor radio or a sack of grain, which a warlord will steal, to giving him clean drinking water.
What's the best way to do that?
Drill water wells. We need to get USAID. They've got plenty of money. Jeff, what do we estimate they're sitting on? $500 to $700 million worth of money?
It's between there. It's around 600.
USAID, and this is a result of work that I'm proud that I've done, that is, I've been able to shift existing U.S. foreign aid dollars from sacks of grain, transistor radios, the traditional things that USAID has done for years, at Malcolm's recommendation. Again, this has been a passion of Malcolm's for years through a charity that he helped found called Living Water, which raises money privately to go out and drill water wells in these desperately poor communities in Africa primarily. And all they do is they drill a water well and put a pump on it. And you liberate women, you transform the community. These kids are healthy when they're drinking water that's free of parasites and dirt and pollution. And Malcolm pointed out quite correctly that USAID was wasting all this money, and you could do so much to cure disease and liberate women. So I actually won an award last year with Jesse Jackson Jr., of all people. Y'all would be shocked to see me in the same room with Jesse Jackson Jr. I was given an award by the Water Advocates for my work in providing fresh, clean drinking water to millions of people in Africa. One of many things I need to do a better job of promoting. One of the reasons I'm glad I have Megan in here to help me, because I don't often talk about a lot of this stuff. But it's a wonderful way to transform these communities, and why you don't need to be paying the drug companies to send them medication. We'll just give them some clean drinking water. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, I've been careful to vote against. I mean, if Congress had voted with me on these things, frankly, the budget would be balanced today, because we would that'd be $4 trillion worth of spending that wouldn't exist, and we're about 7 trillion, 1.5. How big's the deficit today? 1.5?
Yeah, that's right.
$1.5 trillion. The debt is now, I think, up to 12 trillion, 11.7, I'm sorry, 11.7 trillion dollars in debt. And it's gotten so bad as a result, and it started under Bush, and then the bailouts, which I also voted against and fought. The accelerated spending has gotten so bad that the accumulated liabilities in the United States are so massive. I may have given you one of those before, but it's important you have it. That was as of last March. As of last March, we were 53 trillion in the hole. John, is that he says 53 trillion? The unfunded liabilities of the United States. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all the other promises Congress has made, in order to pay them all, they're statutorily required to pay them, $53 trillion. That was last March. As a result of what this bunch has done, we've now, I don't know what the number is, it's got to be over 60. In fact, I think it was the Pete Peterson Foundation that Walker's now the head of, I think ran a calculation about a month ago, because I remember seeing a press release they sent out that said that the accumulated unfunded liabilities of the United States today equal or exceed the total net worth of the United States. So if you sold the Chronicle building, every building in downtown Houston, all the real estate in America, all the real property, all the personal property, everything at market value, if you could get market value, full face value, you might generate $62 trillion. The unfunded liabilities now exceed that, or certainly exceed that. That was about a month ago. And it's really scary. So that's a top priority for me, is opposing this out of control spending and trying to.
So how do we whittle down this debt? How do we pay off the debt? Especially if we cut taxes, what would going to a consumption tax do as far as the revenues coming in from the government?
My predecessor, Bill Archer, had a group of economists that he had come testify before the Ways and Needs Committee while he was chairman, and they did an analysis, Steve, that showed that the economy would grow by about 13% overnight once you eliminated the income tax. It would be very difficult to do because there are a lot of accountants and lawyers out there. The income tax is sort of embedded in the system, and it's going to be very difficult to extract. Brain tumor with a lot of tendons, very hard to get rid of it. So, but to make the economy grow overnight, the embedded cost of the income tax, I think, is about estimated 22% of the cost of every product. This BlackBerry, this bottle of water, your Sony recorder, everything that we buy has about 22% of its cost is the embedded cost of the income tax. The cost of compliance is so high. There's an entire floor of the old Humble building here in downtown Houston that if you go ask Exxon Mobil, how many floors of the old Humble building do you give over to the IRS? I think it's 1 or 2 floors. Entire floors of the building are IRS agents that Exxon pays their electricity, their bills. They're there year-round, just churning, collecting and monitoring what Exxon's doing and collecting the tax. So by getting rid of the income tax, the economy takes off like a rocket. I keep 100% of my income. It's all mine. I get to invest it. Government has no, the government is I get to spend it, invest it as I wish, and you would obviously discretionary income. I mean, income tax. I don't know what level you have to set it at. It depends on what you exempt and what it includes. It seems to me one objection I have, disagreement I have with the authors of the fair tax, is they want to create a rebate system where we get a check from the federal government. I think they'll just exempt food, water, medicine, just like we do in Texas.
From a consumption tax.
From a consumption tax, so that it's not not unfairly burden poor people, as we do with the sales tax in Texas. By cutting taxes, I think just cutting taxes is always throughout history shown you raise more money because you encourage investment. And one of the reasons I think the stock market big sell-offs occurred is because this new liberal majority in Congress is the anticipation of the massive tax increases that are about to occur. When the Bush tax cuts expire, Obama's promised to raise the capital gains tax, to raise the tax rate on the highest income earners, which means small businesses. That anticipation, I think, has driven a lot of people to start selling. The unfortunate knowledge that people making loans, banks were making loans with the sure knowledge that they could, mortgage loan lenders were making loans to people they knew they couldn't pay them off, so they could unload it on Freddie and Fannie. You just simply, into my mind, you've got to cut taxes, let people keep more of their own money to create jobs, and the way you cut government spending again is apply Jefferson